So there are lessons that we learn in school, and there are lessons that we learn in life. And in this case, the seed was planted while I was in high school, but it didn't really bear fruit until I was in my 30s. I grew up in this very privileged, very white town, New England town north of Boston. I think we had like one black family, maybe one Asian family, possibly a Latino family. It was very waspy. We considered Italians people of color. And so when it came to actually learning a second language in junior high and high school, I thought, what is the point? I mean, I didn't see how it bared any relevance to my life. And so I chose Spanish, but I thought it was absurd because it seemed like learning calculus or something like that. I mean, no practical application, and, or typing. My mother told me I didn't have to take typing, that women would do that for me. She grew up in the 40s. So anyway, I took Spanish, and generally I was a good student and applied myself, but there's another element here. I would say that I had a very poorly developed moral compass. As a teenager. I think it has to do with your prefrontal lobe not being fully developed, the part that, in teenagers, the part that controls behavior. I basically thought, ethics, these are rules for other people, but don't necessarily apply to me because, well, I'm me and I'm special. And so basically what I'm telling you is that I cheated through 4 years of Spanish, okay? I cheated the entire time. And the way I did it was I used crib notes. I would write on little pieces of paper all the answers to the test. Sometimes I would write on my sneaker, and I would, cross my leg and look or pretend to tie my shoe. I never wrote on my hand. That was a popular thing. I think Sarah Palin did that recently during the debate. I think it's a Republican thing. I don't know. I didn't do it, but I didn't do it because my hands sweated profusely, and which, when I think about it, is actually a good sign in retrospect, because it might have meant that I had guilt, and therefore I was not a sociopath. I had a conscience, but it could also mean that I just was a hormonal, sweaty teenager. I don't know. So this particular day, I'm in Spanish class, and I am cheating with my crib notes, and I would always sit right in the front of the classroom, right in front of the teacher, because I had this friend that was a compulsive shoplifter, and he told me, if you're going to steal, you steal right at the front counter, right in front of the salesperson, because that is the place that they would least expect you to do it. And I thought, that is brilliant. And so I would always sit in the front row, right in front of the teacher, and I would have my crib sheet out there. Crib notes, it's an odd term, isn't it, crib notes? I mean, I'd like to know the origin of that term, because like, who writes in their crib? I mean, that's kind of an odd thing, right? But I had my crib notes right there in front of her, and I figured she's looking towards the back of the room for the cheaters. And at the end of the test, Miss Alvarez, she comes around and she said, "Simon, can I have your paper?" And I handed her my test, and she said, "Now, can I have the other paper?" And I was like, oh my God. I was mortified, because, here I had been a stellar student, and this was a black mark, and it happened in front of everyone, and I left in shame. But as it turns out, the next period was study hall for me, so I sat there and I composed a letter of apology to Miss Alvarez. And I was like, "Miss Alvarez, I am so profoundly sorry I have never, ever cheated before in my life. And I know there are no excuses. There are no real excuses. But I have to say that I was under a lot of stress because, you know, I have an alcoholic father and last night I felt I had to protect my younger brothers and sisters from his violent hand. And so it was really hard for me to study. But I know there are no excuses, and I promise you I will never, ever cheat again. And I will do anything to earn your respect. I know I disrespected you, but I will do anything. And so I will come to your class after school like a man and apologize to you in person. So I do. I show up after school, and I walk into the classroom, and Miss Alvarez is there, and she's washing the desks, and she looks up at me, and she just bursts into tears. She says, "Oh my God, Simon, that was the most beautiful letter I've ever seen." and I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have a father like that. And I'm thinking, yes. And she said, "I'm not going to flunk you. I'm not going to flunk you. You can take the test again." I said, "Oh, okay." She said, "Right now. I want you to take the test right now." I said, "Right now?" She said, "Yes, right now." She said, "But listen, I have to go. I have to go. But I trust you, Simon. So just take the test and put it on my desk in the office when you're done." So I start. And then after about a minute, I go up to the window and I see her car pulling away. So I run back to my desk and I whip open my Spanish book and I just cheat like there's no tomorrow. Just enough to get like a C-, not an A, because that would be stupid, you know, but I did it. Poorly developed moral compass, frontal cortex. So flash forward about 17 years. It's 1992. I'm in Mexico City. It's Columbus Day. I guess that's the quincentennial, you know, the 500-year anniversary of Columbus, and it's not a good time, not a good day to be a tall white guy in Mexico City, actually. And I'm leaving my hotel, and I hear, "Mericón, Mericón!" And I learned later that does not mean American. For those that don't know Spanish slang, it means faggot, okay? And so, but I didn't know that. So I hear Mericón, Mericón, and simultaneously I am hit on the back of the head, and I am knocked to the ground. And it turns out there's, on the balcony of the hotel, this teenager had thrown an orange and hit me square in the back of the head and knocked me to the ground. And it was like, I fell, it was like slow motion. It was like Jackie O reaching for Kennedy's brain on the back of the convertible. I was like, and I felt the orange pulp and I thought it was my brain. And I was like, when I got to my feet, I was dazed, but I quickly assessed the situation, and I run into I'm furious, and I run into the hotel, and I go up to the front desk, and there are people behind the front desk, and I look at them, and I said, "Mi cabeza, un naranja, un naranja." And they look at me, and they're like laughing, and I said, "Mi Mericón." And they just kind of. So I leave, and that night we had tickets to Bellas Artes to hear Ballet Folklorico, which, you know, so I go with a splitting headache and a concussion. I didn't know that Ballet Folklorico is like clog dancing on a wooden stage. I thought I'd die. So, the point is, the life lesson that took many years to bear fruit, literally. It is important to learn a second language. It may actually prove useful. And more important is todo se paga, todo todo se paga en esta vida, o la vida da muchas vueltas, which for you monolinguists means karma is a bitch.